Hypnotic, what your body says. Happiness. welcome. Hello, welcome to day 4. Hi, Ruth. Hi, Gino. I see lots of smiling faces out there. Hi, Jean. Hi, Ian. Hi, Tammy. Hello, everybody. Hello, Facebook. Hello, Zoom. All right, can you believe it? This is day 4, and it has been such an amazing week. I don't know about you guys, but even though this is my, 35th event of Brad's, I still get very valuable information, and I reinforce what I've already learned. I learned something new. So let me just see it in the chat. Let me see it in the chat and in Zoom and in the Facebook group. Let me just hear from you. What type of aha moment did you have this week? Did you learn something that just was like, wow, mind blown? And also, remember, we will announce the winners for the homework. Your homework assignment, in case you haven't done it yet, was to give us your net worth target. So calculate where you're at now, where you want to be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. You can do a lot in that time frame. Also, I see the beautiful Jen Sumrock on. Hello, beautiful Jen Sumrock. Hi, woohoo. And Alan Stewart. Hello, hello, hello. I'm seeing some awesome aha moments here. Sonia, let's see, she said figuring out her net worth. That's fantastic. So, good job on that. I also want to just talk to you a little bit about what we did yesterday. So what did we do yesterday? Yesterday we talked about the multifamily ROI. So that is, why is multifamily so, why can you build wealth so quickly with multifamily? So we talked about the 3 rules of multifamily: cash flow, NOI appreciation, and tax advantages. So you may remember NOI. We talked about numbers. Numbers love me. I love numbers. Numbers love me. And we talked about how to increase NOI. Brad taught us the best way, and this is the basic bread and butter of all multifamily deals in the entire country, is you want to increase that NOI. The easiest, best way to do that is to increase the income, decrease the expenses. That's the NOI appreciation rule. And then also we learned from Brad on cash flow, which that's a fantastic way, of course, to make money on your assets. And then the tax advantages, which he said that was his favorite. And why was it his favorite? Because he was spending $1 million in taxes, and thanks to him learning from other experts and learning from those that know what they're doing in the industry, like Tom Wheelwright, who we're going to hear from tonight as well, Tom was able to help them save $1 million in taxes. Like, that's mind-blowing. So, and that's only through the multifamily assets that he and Jen own. So that's just from the bonus depreciation. And, you know, it's just incredible to me. And this is something that is really, true to my heart here. So you see on the slide that our mission is to help you reach those targets. Brad and his wife, Jen, their mission is to help as many people as they can, to impact as many people as they can, like me, like you all, like Neander, like everybody else that you've heard from this week. And I see, being a C student is cool. You bring up a good point. Ken McElroy was our guest speaker yesterday, and I loved hearing Ken's story because, sometimes it's like you hear from people and you're like, wow, well, they had this like major thing happen in their life, and then all of a sudden they were like, no, I'm changing. And he was just like, no, I was in my 30s and I was just like, I'm going to be a millionaire. And then he was like, I can't really tell you why, but I was going to be a millionaire. And so he did. And then as he started doing that, then his why became more apparent, and it just built on it and built on it. And then he started a family, and then he wanted to leave a legacy for his children. So that's something that is so really, really cool about this industry and about the ecosystem that Brad and Jen have built, is that everybody comes from such a variety of backgrounds. And everybody has a different why. And it's yours. It's your personal why. So you make it yours and you do it for your why. And it's your journey, and we're all in this journey here together. And so reaching those targets is something that I get emotional sometimes when I just think about it, because I think about, I made the decision with my husband, David, 7 years ago to be a multifamily investor, and we chose Brad to be the mentor for us, to show us how to do it. And when I look back over the years of what we've accomplished, and not only what we've accomplished, but what we've learned from Brad and from Jen, and what we've learned from all of the other students that we've met, and just contributing to our personal growth, and then giving us the means to impact other people in such a positive way. And it all started with us attending the Rat Race to Retirement event. And I have this slide up here. Many of you saw this yesterday. And this is where I started. This is where thousands of other students that Brad and Jen have helped started. So you're on here for a reason. And you're here because you're looking for something else, right? Like, you're looking for another way to increase your income, to build a legacy, your why. So this is it, 3 days. You take a screenshot of this. I'm not going to read everything on here. We have all these amazing bonuses. And then some of you weren't able to be on here yesterday. Some of you weren't able to be here, a couple days ago. So we wanted to extend our bonuses that we extended yesterday to everybody on there. And that is these awesome specials that we have for you. We are offering the general admission for $97. The VIP is $197, and the platinum in person is $797. And guys, listen, this is where you will get just immersed in this content. And this is when you will connect a lot of the dots. Some of you have already been connecting the dots. Some of you are already having these aha moments, and it's so exciting. And I'm going to be setting up some conversations with some people here too, because I'm getting lots and lots of questions. So I'm super excited. The link to register is on here. Go to bradsumrock.com. And we only have 4 tickets left of the platinum in person. So if you want to come in person, hang out with us in a studio like this, then please secure your ticket now. And without further ado, I am honored and very privileged and super excited to introduce to you, for day 4 of our awesome Invest in Apartments Challenge, none other than the apartment king himself, Brad Sumrock. Woo! Yeah!
Yeah!
There you go, man.
Yeah. All right, how's everybody doing on day 4? Day 4. I have mixed emotions because that means 3 days are already done. I see Jen there. Hey, beautiful. How you doing? Let's get those VIPs going. Look at my wife on that Zoom. Let's go. Let's go, Alan Stewart. Get off your butt. Let's go, Bob Lawrence. I see you, buddy, from high school. You coming in March? Bob Lawrence, you coming in March? It's your time, buddy. I've seen you. You're at Publix. You're a millionaire, but you could do so much more. And I want you here in March. And I see you, man, from Palm Beach. So I'm so excited, and I'm like, oh my God, the challenge is we've already done 3 days, and there's only 2 more to go. But I have some great news. How many people saw my live post about 20 minutes ago when I was driving? Did anybody see it? Good, because maybe I shouldn't have done it because I was driving, but I was on Facebook Live. And I have 2 pieces of information I want to share with you, and then we're going to get right into the content for day 4. Number 1, so the bad news is my beautiful wife is in Florida, and we're together like 24/7, but she's in Florida right now checking out our newly renovated home, and I'm here in Dallas. And you know what that means? I don't have anything to do on Saturday. So you know what I want to do on Saturday? I want to hang out with you guys. So on Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 3, 2, 1, and 12. I'm screwing it up already, but it's 3 p.m. Eastern, okay? I will be on the Facebook group in the challenge, and I will have an Ask Brad Anything day. So anything you want to ask me about anything we covered in the challenge, about your why, about your financial freedom number, about being a passive investor, about being a GP, about buying your own deal with your own money, about cash flow, about taxes, about NOI, about market selection, I'm going to be answering all your questions, and that's going to be on Saturday, okay? So that's bonus day number 1. Now, the second announcement I have for you is, do you know that I promoted and mentioned that Grant Cardone was going to be speaking at this challenge? Well, I wasn't able to get Grant scheduled this week. So today is Tom Wheelwright, and tomorrow is Robert Helms, and Robert is going to talk about going bigger and faster and raising money. And that's what I'm going to talk about too. So we're going to be talking about how do you raise capital. And then that's Robert's specialty. Robert teaches his own seminars called The Secrets of Syndication. Okay? So he's going to be talking about that. And so where does that leave Grant Cardone? Well, Grant is going to come on Monday next week, and we're going to have a whole nother bonus day. And it's just going to be me and Grant. And so this is going to be the same time, the same place, the same channel. So the only day that's different is going to be Saturday at 3 Eastern, Ask Brad Anything. And then Monday is going to be another bonus day, February 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Write it down. Brad Sumrock, the apartment king, that's what they call me, and Grant Cardone, Mr. 10X. And we're going to be dueling it out and dropping tons of content on Monday night. So I'm excited about that, and I hope you are too. So if you guys are excited about that, and you're going to be able to, let me see who's going to tune in on Saturday. If you're going to tune in on Saturday for Ask Brad Anything Day, put it up, blow up the Facebook page and let me know, okay? And if you're going to tune in on Monday for me and Grant, blow up the Zoom meeting and blow up the Facebook page and let me know. Because Grant is pumped for this, by the way. Grant has been at my AIM NatCon events 2 years in a row, and I'm so excited that I was able to get him to come on this challenge. And this is a free event, okay? So I'm super stoked, and these are relationships. The relationship that I have with Robert Kiyosaki and with Grant Cardone, these took me years to develop, and I'm just so glad to bring them over. These are some of the best educators on the planet, okay? So with that, tonight I'm going to go now into day 4, and today is not going to be about numbers. Woohoo! Today is going to be about market selection. So I'm going to go through what makes a good market. I'm going to talk about my 19-year proven recipe and my 19-year proven process for buying apartments and what we buy and where we don't buy. And then I know I've referred several times during the challenge, I referred to a webinar that I did last week on the 2021 apartment forecast, and I'm getting overwhelmed with, you know, Brad, could I get the slides and could you get me that webinar? So what I thought I would do tonight instead is I'm going to recap that webinar. Okay, so if you saw it, it's going to be repetition, and you're going to get more skill and more you're going to get that embedded into you, okay? And if it's your first time hearing it, it's going to be awesome. And so I'm going to cover that tonight. So let's get started, okay? Who's ready to go? You guys ready to go? And we also have 2 guest speakers tonight before Tom, okay? We haven't met any of my preferred providers yet. And I have a lot of providers. So look, if you're looking for an attorney, if you're looking for a lender, if you're looking for an insurance company, you're going to meet those people at my March event. So my March event is not only are you going to network, not only are you going to learn a deep dive of everything we're talking about here in the challenge and more, but you're going to meet a lot of the people that could help you do the deal. Like Kiyosaki said, Tom Brady lost the game, but his team won the game. And so you want to have a team that's going to help you win, even if you're not always on, which sometimes we're not always on. Sometimes we make mistakes or we deviate, and our team can help us succeed, okay? So I'm going to bring 2 of my team, my preferred providers, are going to be introduced to you tonight, and they're going to be key parts of the puzzle for you when you're doing your deals, okay? Now, the other question I've been getting is, and I just want to say this before I dive in, I've been getting questions about hey Brad, is your March event only for people that want to syndicate and be a GP? Because I want to be a passive investor. I spend a lot of time on people that want to be passive investors too. Okay, and a lot of people that are GPs like me, we still invest passively. So if you want to be a passive investor, you want to be at the March event because there's an educational process for you. Okay, you want to learn what it takes to select the right deals to invest in and how to analyze the deals and how to vet your sponsors, your GPs. And so I cover that in March. And so the March event is for passive investors, it's for GPs, and it's for people that want to do their own deals with their own money. Okay, it's for all three categories, just to be clear, because I know we've been getting questions about that. So let me get started. I want to recap 2020, okay? Now, 2020, if we look at the slide, we lost over 20 million jobs, and 10 million came back. But we're still down for the year, almost 10 million jobs. You can see we're down for the year, 9.88 million jobs. But we were down 22 almost when the pandemic hit. And so we've recovered pretty well, okay? But it's still the worst year over year. It's worse than 2008 in terms of job loss. Now, if we look at occupancy only went down 60 basis points, so that's 0.6%. And job loss is a huge economic driver of multifamily. So if we look at, we had this massive job loss, but the occupancy is still pretty strong nationally, and the rents nationally have only gone down 1%. Now, these are national numbers. These include the Sunbelt markets that are performing really well, like Tampa and Dallas and Arizona, but they also include New York and, you know, LA and Seattle and San Francisco, and these markets have been decimated. So to have a net loss of only 1% on rent is pretty good. You know, compare that again to other sectors like office or retail, okay? And construction continues to boom along with almost 365,000 units coming online. So we had all these units coming online, we had people losing their jobs, and rents and occupancy pretty much stayed flat, okay? And that's a testimonial to the resiliency of multifamily, okay? We would have never expected to have that much job loss and to have people still prioritize their rent payment. And here's the deal, people need a place to live. People need a place to live, okay? And we had these stimulus packages, and we have more coming. And so the stimulus packages are helping people that need to pay the rent. They are. I mean, I'm not getting stimulus checks, but a lot of our tenants are. And so they're paying the rent because any eviction moratorium does not forgive them, and it doesn't, you know, allow them to never pay. It just means they can't be evicted if they've suffered a financial hardship. But they have to demonstrate that. Like the whole CDC eviction moratorium states that the tenant has to sign under penalty of perjury that they lost their job due to COVID and that they can't pay due to COVID. And so we're not seeing a lot of people taking that eviction moratorium, okay? So if we look at what happened with pricing, the average pricing actually went up in 2020, okay? Up 6.7%, and the cap rate went down. So here's what's going on, okay? There's more money coming into multifamily, and that trend is going to continue. I know some of you were asking questions, well, wow, I'm new, and how do I get started? Well, the question isn't how do you get started? It's why must you get started? It's why must you have the financial cash flow, the financial freedom number? Why must you hit that number? Okay, the how, you'll figure it out. I didn't know how. I had the same questions you did. How am I going to find deals? How am I going to do this when I have a job? I had a job and I was traveling internationally 25% of the time, and I was like, how? And fortunately, I started reading, you know, Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins, and other people, and they taught me to expand your mindset, focus on your why, and the how will appear if you have the right commitment, okay? So I'm here to help you with the how. Okay, that's my job, that's my passion, is I'm here to help you with the how. Your job is to come up with your why. Does that make sense? Is everyone clear with that? Let me just see a thumbs up, all you backstagers, and blow up the Facebook page. Are you guys clear that your role is to focus on the how, and I'm going to help you? I mean, your role is to focus on the why, and my role is to help you with the how. Okay? So that's what happened with 2020. Now, why do we like certain markets better than others? And all markets are not equal. The markets with the green big circles are where everybody's moving to. Okay? And you can see the markets. Look, I've mentioned markets. Kenny McElroy mentioned markets. Mike Becker mentioned markets. We can see people were moving to Texas, Arizona, Georgia, and Florida. Okay, I could stop right here, guys, and you'll have enough information to say where are the best markets. Now, there's some other markets, too, that we look at. You know, I like Denver. I like Salt Lake City. I like Charlotte. I like Nashville. I like Boise, Idaho. I like Columbus, Ohio. I like Indianapolis. Okay? But this is a good pattern. This is where people are moving to, and this is where jobs are being created. These are the top 10 markets in 2020. Phoenix, Dallas, South Florida. I'm not a big fan of South Florida. Sorry, Bob Lawrence. South Florida is not, it's a little different dynamics than Central Florida. You know that. That's why we look in Tampa and Jacksonville. Okay, Orlando, there's still people moving there, but Orlando got hit pretty hard with the pandemic. Okay, but we like Phoenix, we like Dallas, we like Atlanta, we like Houston. We like Tampa, St. Pete. Okay, we like Austin. It's just harder to find deals in Austin. Okay. Now, I mentioned this the other day. Does anyone remember when I mentioned the gap between cap rate and the 10-year Treasury? Okay, so let's just take a look back to 1990 at the far left. This is when I started investing in apartments. The average cap rate was like 9%. Isn't that crazy? You know, I was buying stuff for $30,000 a door. And now the same thing that was $30,000 a door is $100,000 a door. And if that's all you look at, your mind is going to screw with you. Your mind will screw with you, because let me tell you what, that property that was $30,000 a door in 1990, where was the 10-year Treasury? Well, cap rates were 9%, but the 10-year Treasury was at 8%. So there was, my first deal that I bought, I'm sorry, I said I started buying in 1990. That's when I got out of college in 1989. I started buying in 2002. And in 2002, the cap rates were about 8%, but the 10-year Treasury was 4%. And I got a 6% loan on that 32-unit property, and I thought it was a great loan. Okay? So I'm buying a $30,000 a door, but my rents are $400 a month, and now they're $900. And I'm getting a loan, 20 years ago, it's 6%, and now I'm getting a loan below 3%. Okay? So the numbers still work. And that's the whole point. In fact, if you look at this chart over the last 30 years, there's only been 2 other times in 30 years there was a bigger spread. One was in 2011, where the spread was 450 basis points between cap rates and interest rates. And the other was back in 1998, okay? So I want to demonstrate to you that now is a good time. And then plus we have those 2 years left of amazing tax advantages before they start phasing out, when the 2018 tax laws start to go away, okay? So you don't just look at price per door, you don't just look at cap rate, you look at rate of return, okay? And that's why in the March event, I'm going to teach you what we do when we analyze deals, and we look at the rate of return. We don't buy on cap rate and price per door. That's an indicator. Okay, that's not the decision maker. The decision maker is what kind of returns could we get? And the returns have to do not only with cap rate, but it has to do with the cost of debt. It has to do with what the rents are. And then yesterday I showed you how we look for opportunities. We don't buy deals if we can't raise the income and optimize and reduce the expenses. We don't buy the deals. Is everyone clear on this? Let me see if you're clear on this. Just give me a thumbs up or let me know on Facebook and say, hey, Brad, we're clear. Like, we got this. Okay? So this is important for you. So this is the Sumrock process. Okay? And this is what I've been doing for 18 years. And one of the things that I keep doing is because just like Robert Kiyosaki and just like Kenny McElroy, they said they're always learning. Well, I am too. And so I keep expanding to my process, because when I learn something, I say, oh my God, I got to teach it. So the first part of my process is your first investment should not be money. It shouldn't be money. It should be an education. And you guys are here on the challenge. And again, you guys are the 10% that got the email that actually opted into the challenge. So I want to acknowledge you for that, okay? And there's still more education, okay? And it's not a pitch, it's just a fact. It's like, look, I studied engineering for 4 years before I went and got a job, okay? And buying an apartment isn't hard, but it's not simple. It requires some education, okay? And that's why we offer the 3-day class, okay? So you invest in your education. You want to define your why and your SMART goals, and we've already worked on that. Like, so you guys have a head start, okay? You get your why clear. You get your goals clear. And now it's going to be easy for you to succeed. We look for deals that are stabilized with value add, okay? Stabilized means it's already making a profit. We're not buying beat up pieces of crap that are boarded up. We're buying deals that are run okay and that are somewhat profitable, but we're looking for opportunity to add value, like I showed you yesterday. Adding value is another word to say, how could I increase the NOI? And then what we're going to really hone in on today is selecting the right market. It's critical that we select the right market. Point number 5, this business is all about leverage. Okay, and we've heard Kiyosaki talk about team. And leverage is another word that I love to use, because OPE means other people's experience. And that's where your team comes in. I want to be on your team. I want to mentor you. So leverage my experience so you could go faster and make less mistakes. Leverage your team's experience. Leverage your lender's experience. Leverage your attorney's experience. Okay? And that's going to help you. When you're saying, hey, how do I get started? I'm new. You leverage people's experience. You leverage people's time. Okay, remember Robert Kiyosaki said an S is somebody that says what? If you want it done right, you do it who? Type in the answer. If you're an S, if you want it done right, you do it. Who does it? Yourself. Type it in. That's not the recipe to be a successful business owner. Okay, the recipe to be a business owner is leverage other people's experience and leverage other people's time. And for someone like me that was educated with 2 degrees, that was a big shift for me. Okay, it was a big shift, and honestly, sometimes it still is. I'm just being honest. Okay, that's why I have mentors. That's why I go to Grant Cardone, because his mindset is so exponential. It's exponential, and I pay Grant $100,000 for 4 sessions, not because I want to learn content, but because I want to sit with him for an hour and a half and absorb like a sponge and walk out of there with my mind. Does that make sense, Dino? That's what I do, okay? That's why I pay him. I walk out and I'm just like, oh my God, I need to be more like that with my mind, okay? I want you to buy in or invest in 60 units or more. You have better economies of scale, professional management, better financing. Okay, 60 units will get you the professional management companies that allow you to be a business owner and not a self-employed person. We buy the C and the B class traditionally, which are the working class people. But now that the market has shifted in some markets, we have to learn to be dynamic. We have to learn to pivot. Just like in the event business, we would do all these live, and now we're doing it virtual. We pivoted. And we need to pivot. We need to adapt our strategy. And that's why I bought the City Center deal in Houston. It was an A-class deal, and we bought it for B or C-class pricing, literally. Okay, and it's a great opportunity. And then my last point is we need to continue to expand our mindset. We need to have an exponential mindset and an expansive mindset. And so this is the process. And if you do these things, you're going to be successful. So what makes a good market? Well, landlord and business friendly. Landlord and business friendly. And in the pandemic, landlord and business friendly has been more important than ever. Okay? There's a huge world of difference between where I'm standing today in Dallas, Texas. When I go to the airport, it's 70% full. And I saw somebody in California that posted a picture of the Sacramento airport, and he was the only one in the airport, like last week. The world is different in certain places, okay? And that's why people were moving to these places, okay? We also look for markets that have above average cap rates, above average job growth, above average population growth. We want the affordability gap to be above average. Affordability gap is if we look at the median single-family home versus the price of rent for a median-priced apartment. What's the PITI for that house payment versus the rent payment for that apartment? And we look at, and I study all this stuff. You know, with my engineering background, I'm still kind of a nerd when it comes down to numbers. And so I crunch all these things, I read all the reports, and I come up with what are the markets that make the most sense. And if you follow this part of the recipe, again, there's never a guarantee of success, but I want to stack the odds in your favor. Okay, so don't you want the odds stacked in your favor? Say, yes, Brad, I want the odds stacked in my favor, so you follow the recipe. Okay, you just follow the recipe. So these are the states where Sumrock students that I personally mentor have bought apartments. Now, it doesn't mean that some of these states that are not highlighted aren't good states. It's just we don't own anything there yet. But you can see we're generally in the Sun Belt and in some markets in the Midwest. And then we have a student that has a few properties in Washington, but outside of Seattle, like in some smaller submarkets. And I think we now own some things in Indiana too, and we're looking at North Carolina. But generally, these are the markets where we own, okay? So my guarantee to you is this. A year from now, if you sit on the sidelines, you're going to wish you had started today. You're going to wish you had started today. Because the thing that cost $100,000 a door today might be, if it goes up another 6%, it'll be $106,000 a door tomorrow, next year. Okay? And then you're going to say, oh man, now it's too expensive. So you want to get in now, and when the interest rates are still low, okay, and we still have those tax advantages. So now let's look at the forecast for 2021. Well, we're going to gain another 3.7 million jobs this year, but what I have in my bullet point is we're going to gain another over 4 million jobs next year. So by the end of 22, all the jobs that were lost due to the pandemic will be back to full employment. Okay, that's the forecast. And the job growth is going to be the strongest in the A class. Again, that's why I pivoted and bought that A-class deal. I'm not saying we should all go buy A-class deals, but if we see the opportunity, then we need to know we need to be able to identify the opportunity. And I'm learning from people with 15, 20,000 units, and I'm going to share it with you. Okay, I don't keep this to myself and go, ooh, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna tell them that and go do this. It's like, no, I'm gonna tell you everything I'm doing. Okay. So we see the rents eking up in 2021, but by 2022, again, up 4%. So we see us back to full employment, and we see rents going up. And when rents go up and they start printing money like they're going to be doing and giving away money like they're doing, the value of these buildings are going to go up, okay? So all four of these companies are predicting, you can look at 2021, you can look at occupancy and rent growth, but the big thing I'm looking at is 2022. 2022, we got 4%, RealPage is conservative, 0.4%, Yardi 2%, 2.6%, CBRE 10.5% rent growth. So I look at that and say, oh my God, like if you wait until 2022, I mean, look, I hope 2022 is good too, by the way. I mean, I hope it is, but 2021 is, I guarantee it, if we buy now, and you still got to buy right, and manage right, and finance right, and all those types of things, and be in the right market. But if you buy now and you're doing all the other things according to the plan, the odds of you winning are going to be very high. The odds of you winning are going to be very high, okay? So we can see here again, over the next 5 years, where are the jobs being created? What are the top two markets? Dallas and Houston. Dallas and Houston. What's number 3? Phoenix. Where's Tampa? Number 7. Denver, number 9. Atlanta, number 10. Now, I don't like Riverside. It's in California. Seattle's in Washington. San Francisco. So I cross out the markets where the cap rates are below average. I cross out the markets that are not landlord and business friendly. Do you see how I could apply my recipe to this chart? You cross out the markets. Like I don't want Detroit because they have no job growth and population. Well, they have job growth, but people are leaving Detroit. Okay? So what I do is I take my recipe and I circle the markets that make the most sense. So just looking at these top 20, it's Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, Tampa, Denver, Atlanta. That's it on the top 20. Then I look at the population growth and I do the same thing. Again, look, Houston for the next 5 years is the number 1 city for population growth. And what's number 2? Dallas. Phoenix is number 4. Atlanta's number 5. So if I just look at these top 20, and I would say, and which ones meet my recipe? Houston, Dallas, Phoenix, Atlanta, Denver, Tampa. That's it. Okay? So I'm giving you the targets that you need so you can pick your markets. Okay? I'm doing the research for you. Now, I've read about 6 reports. I've read CBRE, Berkadia, Marcus and Millichap, CoStar, RealPage, Yardi, and maybe one other one. And I've read through all the major markets, and these are the ones that, I have some smaller markets too, like Des Moines, and Omaha, and Boise, and Knoxville, okay? But these are the markets nationally that make the most sense to me. These have the combination of population growth, job growth, cap rate, affordability gap, landlord and business friendly. Does this make sense? Let me know if this makes sense. Kevin Jenkins, are you following me? Bob Lawrence, you following me here? Does this make sense? All right. See, the engineering degree actually did me some good. Although when I was studying engineering, I had no freaking idea that it was going to do me any good. And the MBA actually gave me some goodness because I know how to analyze this stuff, okay? So these are my top markets. These are where I look. My personal favorites are Dallas and Tampa. And guess why that is? Because I'm local. I lived in Dallas since 2008, and I live in Florida. My wife is from the Tampa Bay area, and we have a home there. She is there now. So just remember, too, real estate is local. So if you have a local tie to any of these markets, or you have family there, or you went to college there, you want to use that local leverage, right? Leverage relationships, leverage people. OPE, OPT, and OPM, other people's time, other people's experience, and other people's money, okay? And so one of the things I'm going to ask you, your homework is going to be really simple today. is to identify your top 3 markets. And so I want you to send that in and post it on the page. And I'd like for you to tell me why. Okay? You pick your top 3 markets and then say, why are these my markets? Is it because I live there? Is it because I want to move there? Is it because I know somebody there? Or is it just because the numbers make sense? And by the way, you don't have to live where you invest. I have students that live in California and invest in Texas. I have students that live in Toronto, and they're investing in Florida. Okay, so you don't have to live where you invest. Okay, so those are my top markets. And now I want to finalize my session tonight with some other predictions for 2021. And these are a lot of questions that I get asked. Number 1, I don't think 1031 exchanges are going away. Okay, I don't think they're going away. Tom Wheelwright doesn't think they're going away. Number 2, I don't think the Democrats are going to accelerate the phase out of bonus depreciation. I think it's going to stay in place until December of 2022. So we got 2 more years. Now I could be wrong, but you know, again, according to Tom, who we're going to hear from tonight, and some other experts, again, the Democrat platform is more about printing money. Okay, they don't want to lose the control that they have in 2 years. And generally, parties that raise taxes, remember George Bush Sr. said, read my lips, no new taxes. And then what did he do? Raise taxes. And did he win or lose his second term, the election? He lost. He lost to Bill Clinton. Okay, so politicians remember that. So there may be opportunity now in different, like A class. There's still great opportunity in B and C. Okay, interest rates are going to remain low. Okay, this is what's keeping our economy strong. Interest rates are going to remain low. Now, I mentioned this before, but the big institutions, the JP Morgans, the Goldmans, the Blackstones, okay, and one of my mentors had lunch. One of my mentors has 15,000 units. He's not on the challenge, but he had lunch with somebody from Goldman's, and they were saying that all these pensions in Europe are expiring. I mean, all these bonds in Europe are expiring, and they're not going to re-buy bonds in Europe because they need to pay pensions at 7%. And where do you think they're going to get a 7% yield? So the big boys are gearing up. And here's the good news, by the way. The big boys don't buy 100-unit Class C properties. This is our territory. Okay, the big boys, they buy the 600-unit A-class properties. But we make a living buying 100-unit B and C class properties. Okay? And as they continue to print money and as rents continue to go up, those who invest, remember T. Harv Eker's quote, Grant Cardone's quote, we don't wait to buy real estate. We buy real estate and wait. And we just don't wait. We drive up the value. We raise rents. We do capital improvements. We improve the management. So we have strategies that drive up the value, but we still have tailwinds. Okay, we have tailwinds because of asset inflation and cap rate compression, and that's going to make these properties more valuable. And this is part, remember yesterday I shared with you my net worth, highly personal, by the way. Every quarter, just the fact that I own buildings, it goes up. I update my financial statement every quarter, and even the buildings that I own that I haven't sold, they become more valuable. Because if the cap rate goes down, my buildings become more valuable. When the rents go up, my buildings become more valuable, and I become more valuable. Somebody posted, what is his net worth? It's over 45 million, and I'm not bragging, but Brandon, I shared this because in 2002, after 15 years of corporate America, my net worth was $500,000. And it went from 500,000 to over 40 million by buying apartments and doing exactly what I'm sharing with you guys. Okay? So the point is, if you're in the Sun Belt, if you're following my proven process, if you have a strong team, if you're committed, if you have a strong why, and I want to mentor you and help you and make this happen for you, you're going to have a great chance to succeed. Okay? So, your homework assignment for tonight is simple. What are your top 3 markets where you want to invest? And the thing I want to add here is why. Okay, Brandon, I see your net worth is $500K. In 20 years, it could be $40 million. Okay, don't buy into the bullshit of like putting your money in a stock market for the next 30 years and trying to, you know, have a 6% average return in the stock market and diversifying and cutting out the lattes. That's not going to get you to where you want to go. Grant Cardone, by the way, says you need at least $5 million to retire now. Okay, $1 million isn't enough anymore. $1 million today isn't like it was 20 years ago, and 20 years from now when you retire, or 30 or 40 years from you retire, $1 million ain't going to cut it. You need 5 to 10 million just to have a secure, comfortable retirement. And this is your path to get there. So again, your homework, your top 3 markets, and why. Okay? So now I want to bring up a couple of my students, and they're here live in the studio. So let's hear it for Emily and Adam. Woohoo! Are you guys mic'd up? How you doing? Are you guys mic'd up?
Yeah.
All right. So Emily and Adam, well, you know, just tell your story, how you started. Here's another example, by the way, of 2 of my students that started as employees, and now they are business owners and investors. So you guys could just start, and I'll stand off to the side and give you the stage. I'm going to get a drink of water. You guys just tell your story for a few minutes.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you. Awesome. My name is Emily Courtwright. This is my husband, Adam Roberts. We started out as engineers, very similar to Brad's background. We were both working for GE Aviation, and in 2012, we went to our first real estate investing education conference. At that time, it was completely mind-blowing. I had never known about the benefits of real estate investing, and so we ended up, GE sold off the businesses we were in probably only 5 months later. And I was pretty devastated. I cried a lot. I was like, this wasn't supposed to happen. We were on the corporate ladder, ready to be executives, and it felt like the worst thing in the world at the time. Looking back, it was the best thing that ever happened to us because it prompted a change. It prompted us to move to Texas. Adam found another aviation job in Texas, and I left my corporate job in 2013 to start our real estate investing business. We started with single family flips and rentals, and our goal at the time was always financial freedom. So we wanted Adam to join me full-time in real estate. We wanted both out of the corporate rat race, and our financial freedom number at the time was about $6,000 a month. That's what we needed to bring in to not move back in with mom and dad. So after 4 years of single family investing, it just wasn't getting us there fast enough. We found out about Brad's rat race to retirement. We went to that in the summer of 2017, and our lives have never been the same since. We have made a drastic change to our business. We switched focus to multifamily, and within 1 year of joining Brad's group, Adam was able to quit his job at GE and join me as a full-time real estate investor.
Woo-woo! Woo! Woo-woo! That's awesome.
And so since that time, we really hit the ground running. I mean, Brad's talked a lot about, you know, having your why and having meaningful goals to go after. Since 2017, we've amassed about $80 million in multifamily real estate assets. Our net worth has gone up almost 6 times. And we truly spend each day with...
Wait. So in 2017 to now, that's roughly 3 years. Am I on camera? I'm on the side here. So in 3 years, your net worth 6x'd.
Yeah.
Right? So when I showed yesterday options of 2xing or 2.5xing a net worth within 5 years.
Took 3 years.
You did 6x in 3 years.
Right.
So I'm not making this stuff up, guys. I mean, is everybody going to do it? No, you're not going to do it. If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. Okay, and if you get on a different path, then you could have the same results as I did. These guys, net worth 6 times in 3 years, that's faster than what I did.
Yeah, and it's the recipe. I mean, the ecosystem and the program. Emily said we went to the Rat Race to Retirement event. That's essentially the event that's being pitched for March. And that event if you know you would like to get into real estate investing or transition into multifamily, you cannot miss that event. That event completely changed our lives. Like Emily said, our minds were blown, and we knew it was the next step for us. We knew that we wanted to get into this industry and that we needed a mentor, we needed an ecosystem, and we haven't been disappointed. It's been one of the best decisions, professional decisions that we've made.
Yeah, and everything that's talked about over this challenge we have experienced. We haven't paid taxes since 2018 because of the depreciation of the multifamily assets. Woo! That's another great win. And we have been able to take advantage of now being financially free. We got to go to Ecuador with Brad and Jen to deliver wheelchairs for Chair the Love. This year we're going to get to go to Costa Rica to do the same thing. That Ecuador trip was the first time that we looked at each other and we said, we don't have to check with a boss to see if we have time off. We can go away for 9 days and we can set up our business to run it on its own, and that was a huge mindset shift for us.
And today, we have a different why. I mean, obviously, we like to put business plan together to see where we're going to be 5 years from now, 7 years from now. I think anybody that's in the ecosystem will have spreadsheets that kind of track their cash flow and their net worth. But, I mean, we take advantage of some of the lifestyle flexibilities we have now. Truthfully, my family's in Philadelphia, Emily's family's in Cincinnati. When we worked in corporate America, we might see them once or twice a year, and that's the kind of the freedom that we were afforded. Today, we make it a priority. We're able to make it a priority, and even if I've got to do work from Philadelphia, I can. So we get to see our family multiple times a year, and at the end of the day, that really hits home for the both of us.
Yeah. And just remember, when we went to the Rat Race to Retirement event in summer of 2017, the same event that's going to come up in March, we had zero multifamily experience. We had only done single family flips and rentals before that, no multifamily investing experience, and within 4 years, we have almost 80 million in assets under management, and we're continuing to grow our business thanks to Brad. Another thing I want to thank him for is we have had such great communication during the COVID pandemic that I don't know if we would have been able to do it without this group. Brad increased his communications to weekly. We were on weekly webinars, and it just helped us get through the roughest period of our real estate investing career that we have ever experienced. And I want to say thank you to Brad and his team for making sure that all of the deal sponsors knew had the most up-to-date information, knew the rules, and that we were all making sure our businesses were going to be as resilient as possible.
Yep.
So.
All right. Yeah. Woo! All right, you guys rock.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I love these guys. They're great friends of mine too. And some of my best friends are like my students. What I found out, like, my first why was to get myself financially free, and then I just felt like, again, if I can give that gift to a few other people, and now it's hundreds and hopefully 1 million people in my lifetime to give that gift. And now we've all become friends because we don't have jobs, we don't have bosses, and I travel to cool places with my students, and there's 200 plus millionaires that we've created, and we all have a great time together. So let's give it up for Adam and Emily. How was Adam and Emily so far? They were awesome. So next up, I mentioned having a team. Robert Kiyosaki mentioned having a team. We talked about leveraging other people's time, and we talked about leveraging other people's experience. And so the guy I'm going to bring on stage is somebody that I love to leverage, okay? And I love to leverage his experience and time. And if you remember in all the examples that we did during the challenge, we talked about this $10 million deal. And James, the example we used, I'll bring James up in a minute, but the example we used was a $10 million deal for 100 units. And I talked about that we need 30% down payment, so that's $3 million. Well, we didn't talk too much about the 70%, and this is the debt piece. And so what I like to do is I like to leverage somebody like James that could go out and find me the best loan for that $7 million, okay? So James is going to come up. He's going to talk a little bit about the debt portion, and then, James is going to be at the event in March too. I'm kind of getting tongue-tied, but James will be there in March to give us even more content. And let's bring up James and introduce James to the picture now. He's one of our preferred providers, and he's a good friend of mine.
Thanks a lot, Brad. So James Ng with Old Capital. So I'm the national director for Old Capital, and we are a mortgage broker based here in Dallas, and we do loans nationwide. So we've done thousands of units with Brad over the last 5 years. And so I've been watching the challenge the last couple days, and I wanted to share sort of my why with you guys, because I saw a lot of you guys posted on the group Facebook page your why. So my why really started back in 2014, 2015, and I was in a financing job for GE Capital. And one day I came in and they said, we're selling the entire GE platform to Blackstone, and we don't need any of you guys. And so that was a little bit of a shock for me.
I never knew that, James.
Yeah. So in 2015, I was let go from GE, and I could go out and really do anything. And what I decided to do was really help multifamily investors finance their deals. So a lot of you guys, your goal is achieving financial freedom through multifamily investing. And my goal is assisting you with the financing on multifamily deals wherever you are. So whether you're a first-time investor or a seasoned, experienced investor. So there's guys in Brad's group like Emily and Adam, like Satya Messina, like Gary and Heidi, like Tom Lafferty and Dante Andrade. I remember going with them on their very first deals. Most of these guys started with $1 million to $2 million, $3 million deals. Let's say in Arlington, that was 50 units or 75 units. And now those guys are out there buying $30 million deals. So 200, 300 units that Tom and Dante and Emily and Adam, these guys have closed. So Brad's group is for real. These guys have gone from, doing one or two deals of, pretty $4 to $5 million deals, but then now they're doing very large deals. And so that's number one, I would say, in terms of my why, is really helping multifamily investors find the best financing for their deal. Number two, I would say, in terms of team, there's a lot of people out there, you're going to hire your property manager, you're going to hire an attorney to do your PPM, things like that. So what Brad's talking about in terms of leveraging us, we do hundreds of loans a year. So as a general partner, you might do one, maybe two loans a year. We'll probably do 20 to 30 loans this month. And so when you come to us, our job is to look at your balance sheet, look at the property, and figure out the best financing for that specific property and give you that loan and help you find that loan and get through the process. And so that's number two in terms of team. Number three, I think a lot of people, day three was really around net worth and cash flow. And when I was an underwriter at GE, I saw the balance sheets of owners who own commercial properties. And at that point in 2014, I realized I was on the wrong side and I needed to be on the ownership side. And so in 2014, I started investing in apartments, and since then have done about 28, 29 investments in multifamily properties. So it is for real. I've seen all the settlement statements on all these deals. I've seen the balance sheets of people who have invested in apartments in Brad's group go from $1 million, $2 million to $5 to $10 million just in 2 or 3 years. And so it's for real, and it allows you to really scale not only your net worth, but also your cash flow. And so I'm just sort of going to wrap it up right there. I mean, in terms of where you can find out more information, I will be at Brad's R2R in March, and we're going to do a couple things there. One is, if you come to the event, you can talk to me for a little bit, but for the people who are VIP, so if you sign up for the VIP, we're going to do a 1-hour masterclass on financing, sort of look at your specific situation, give you some case studies to really dive in deep on multifamily financing. So I think that's all I had, Brad. Anything else? I appreciate you having me tonight. If you want to reach out, I'm on the Facebook group. You can message me there, but probably LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, that's probably the best way to reach out and get any more information about me.
Could I ask you one question?
Go for it.
So just give us an idea right now, when we talked about that $10 million deal and $3 million of equity, $7 million of debt. So what type of terms could somebody expect on that 70% loan?
So right now what we're seeing is Fannie and Freddie, you can go get a 10-year loan, and your interest rate's probably going to be anywhere from 3 to 3.5, depending on the term and the prepayment penalty. And then we're getting anywhere from 3 to 5 years interest only, and then it's going 30-year amortization. So it's still very low. It used to be probably 2.5 to 3 last year, but it's come up a little bit at the beginning of this year, but still very good.
Awesome. Well, thank you, James. Thanks for coming in. And James is local, but I'll definitely see you in March.
All right. See you guys.
All right. So let's hear it for James. So I've known James and his company since 2008. So that's 12 years. James, could you believe it's been 12 years? 12 years since I've known James and his company. They're one of the best in the business, and they love working with the Sumrock people because we're educated, okay? So we're not kicking tires, we're educated. They love working with the Sumrock people, and they have a great platform as well. So again, their company name is Old Capital. James is on the Facebook challenge, and you can find him on the Facebook page. So next up, I have another preferred provider partner, and I think she's there on Zoom. Haley, could you hear me?
I can, yes.
All right. So Haley is with Quest Trust Company. And when we talked about the 30% down payment and the 70% debt, when I do syndications, a lot of my money is coming from people that have IRAs to invest. Now, where do you get an IRA? Well, I worked in corporate America for 17 years. And I was a good boy. Remember, my parents taught me to be a good boy and save my money and all that, so I maxed out on my 401k. And then every time I would change jobs, I would roll my 401k into an IRA. Now, you could roll an IRA into like an E-Trade account, but if you're in E-Trade, you can only invest in stocks and bonds and in conventional securities. But if you roll it into a self-directed IRA account, then you could invest it in other assets like multifamily real estate. So that's where Haley and Quest come in, and they have other things you could do with your IRAs too, and health savings accounts and stuff. But I could just tell you that like when I raise capital, usually about 20% of my equity is coming from people with IRA accounts. So Haley, take it away. Tell them a little bit about IRA accounts. And I think you're going to be at my event in March too. And so tell them what you're going to talk about in March.
Oh, yes, we will definitely be at that March event. And I'll start off by saying Quest, and I've been with Quest since 2016, so I've attended Brad's events since 2016 as well. So I'm super excited to be back for these coming up in the spring. But exactly like Brad was saying, Quest Trust Company is a self-directed IRA custodian. We are based out of Houston, Texas, but we do work with clients and investors from all across the U.S. We have about $2 billion in assets under management, and that is all alternative assets that our clients hold in their IRA accounts that they actually self-direct and get to choose the investments that they hold in their IRAs. Now, to kind of relate this over to multifamily investments, kind of like Brad was saying, self-directed IRAs play a huge role in both the passive investor side and the general partner deal syndicator side as well. So here at Quest, we work with a lot of investors that maybe you left the corporate world, you have a 401k, you're ready to roll it over, but you're really just kind of looking for what your different options are out there. And, I love that we've been talking about the why this whole week, because personally, my why, I want to be financially free. I have my own investments myself. You guys can read my post that I just put on the Facebook page. But one of my biggest whys is because not enough people in America know that they can invest their IRAs into privately held assets. So we do a ton of education at Quest. We will be at Brad's event in March. And kind of like Brad was just saying, we aren't the tire kickers here. I've been reading through the Facebook group all week. I've actually been joining this challenge every night myself. And there are a lot of active investors, almost 2,000 people in this group. And that is just amazing for a virtual group to actually be this interactive with this many high quality people. And at Quest, these are the types of investors that we like to work with, because we provide just as high quality of a service that you guys need as you're going through these investments, maybe raising capital from 15 to 20 different people's IRAs for your deals. You know, everyone's kind of in a different step of the process. They need some hand-holding. And that's really what we specialize in here at Quest. We will be at the March event. We will be going into a little bit more in-depth there. But since we realized that this is such a high-quality group, we have actually teamed up to kind of provide a little bit of an extra incentive for you guys to go to the March event. So Quest provides a ton of education. A lot of it's free, but every year we do a few larger events ourselves. That's a bit of a larger scale. One of those is QuestCon Live, and it's a full 2-day online self-directed IRA conference. If you buy your ticket to Brad's event in March, which starts at $97, the value that you get, $30 a day for a full weekend for what you get out of this event, is well worth the cost. And you'll get a free ticket to QuestCon Live if you buy a ticket to the March event. And we will also give you a free copy of the recording as well, which on our end is typically an upcharge. So yeah, guys, I love the energy. I love the victory dances. I've been kind of dancing to myself as I've been watching the Facebook streams all week. But guys, keep providing yourself with these resources. If this week has not gotten you fired up, this probably is not the place for you, because I've been seeing you guys get fired up. You're naming your numbers, you're saying your whys, you're formulating this long-term plan and putting it into reality. And having a good base knowledge of self-directed IRAs to go along with this will not only improve your life and make your investments smoother, but you will also get to help other people improve their lives as well, because you are ultimately helping them save for retirement through investments that you have more control over. So I'm super excited to be here. Brad, this event has been amazing. It's kind of hard to make the virtual events interactive sometimes, and you've done a great job at it. So guys, be sure to blow up the Facebook chat right now. Let us know. You know, I want to see. I'm going to be back in the chat after I finish presenting here, but Quest has a lot of great resources for you. Check out my post that I made in the page. I put some bullet points in there for you guys, and get your tickets to the March event. I'll be there. Quest will be there. A lot of the other people will be there. And I look forward to building relationships with each of you. Definitely don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. And I'm more than happy to help, provide whatever services or education that we can provide for you.
Haley, that's awesome. And in the VIP, we have a VIP room here, and the questions are blowing up. So what I want to say is Haley is in the challenge. Haley Gant, G-A-N-T. She's in the challenge. Track her down. Haley, we don't have time to take everybody's questions for you, but you did a great job. Same with James Eng, by the way. He's in the challenge, so track him down. Haley, thank you so much, and thank you for that generous offer to people to come to your event if they buy the ticket to mine. So that's awesome. I really appreciate it. And and by the way, we got some comments too, like Rhonda Alderman posted, hey, I just worked with Quest. She actually invested in the City Center deal with me, and she used her IRA and just posted how awesome you guys were to work with.
Oh, thank you, Rhonda. That's awesome. And guys, reach out to me. I have a 6-hour road trip to Mississippi tomorrow. So send me all of your questions. I'll get them answered. I'll reach back out to you. And thank you so much for having us, Brad. This event has been so amazing.
All right, Haley, thank you for being here virtually. Thank you, and I'll see you in March. All right. So what's next? What's next is our special guest speaker. Does anyone want to take a guess who that is? Come on, anybody. Do you know who it is? It's my tax zero hero. So put in Tax Zero Hero in the Tax Zero Hero on the Facebook group. Hi, Tom.
How you doing?
Hey, Tom. I just introduced you as the Tax Zero Hero. That's Jennifer's nickname for you.
That's the only time I'm okay being called Zero.
Well, that's one of the times when being a zero is really good.
That's right. Being zero tax is always best.
All right. So, Tom, the format here is we got a couple thousand people in a Facebook group, and it's being live streamed, and then we have, let's see, I don't know, about 100 and some that are what we call backstage, also on Zoom. And so what I want you to do is maybe talk to everybody for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to give away some prizes from the homework last night, and you're going to stay on, and then we're just going to go backstage and do some Q&A with the VIPs. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. Well, you're a natural. You're a great educator. I don't need to tell you what to say. I don't need to interview you. And so I'm just going to let you go and teach a little bit about taxes.
Awesome. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks. On the evening, you're listening to a tax guy. That's very brave as well. So for those of you who don't know me, let me give you just a little bit of my background. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah. So I was a good Mormon boy and spent 2 years as a Mormon missionary in Paris, France, basically selling Mormonism to Catholics and learning a lot about rejection, which is really important when you're in business and investing to understand rejection. From there, I spent a couple of years at the University of Utah to get my Bachelor of Arts in Accounting, another year at the University of Texas to get my Master's Professional Accounting with a tax emphasis. I spent 7 years with Ernst & Young, one of the largest accounting firms in the world, including 3 in their national tax office in Washington, D.C. I spent 4 years as the in-house tax advisor for a Fortune 1000 company, 14 years as an adjunct professor at Arizona State University in their Masters of Tax program, and 25 years buying, building, and selling CPA firms. And the last 14 years, and I know that makes me sound really, really old, and I am actually, but the last 14 or 15 years, I spent a lot of time on the road for somebody by the name of Robert Kiyosaki. If you've ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad, just type Rich in the chat. Just type Rich in the chat. Robert's, I was just on the phone with him literally 35 minutes ago, and we have a weekly call with Robert and Kim, and they're amazing. But one of the amazing things is, we traveled all over the world, Robert and Kim and some of the other Rich Dad advisors and myself. And one of the things that always happens, it doesn't matter if we're in Moscow or if we're in Kazakhstan, we've been in Kazakhstan or in Tokyo or frankly in Dallas. Somebody's always going to say, this is great information, Tom, but you can't do that here, right? So one of the things I'd like to do for the next 15 minutes or so is just talk about how you can do it right where you are. And I know that's been an emphasis this week, is knowing that while, yes, there's a lot of training to get, there really is, and Brad is the best when it comes to multifamily housing training. We send all of our clients there, and we have a network of 50 CPA firms that's worldwide, and we're constantly sending people to Brad because he trains them well. So you've got to get the training, but it's very doable. So let me tell you, let's start with, and I'm going to switch to my screen because my screen's, okay. So I've been disabled from sharing my screen. So if I could share my screen, but in the meantime,
Tom,
yes,
they're enabling you right now. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, try again.
I'm good. All right.
Tom, if that would have happened with Robert Kiyosaki, he would have chewed me out.
Yes, he would have. But I'm the good cop to Robert's bad cop, so it's all good. So here's I want to make sure that in the next 15 minutes you get 3 things, okay? 3 ways to build wealth. Three very important concepts. And I want you to, first of all, look at this right here, because this is kind of how our lives go, right? We have today here. Here's where we are today. For most people, the focus is here on retirement, and then maybe you get to retire and then there's death, okay? Now, here's the problem. Right now, the average rate of return on investment is about 2% worldwide. 2% is what the average person's getting. I was talking to somebody just today about it. So I'm an accountant. To double your money at 2% takes 36 years. That's to double it once. So if you had $200,000, you would double your money to $400,000. And I don't know anybody who wants to retire on $400,000. Okay. So on top of that, you're going to pay tax on it either today or 36 years from now. Okay. Now, how do you increase? The big question is, how do I increase that rate of return? And I will tell you, it's very simple. It's a very simple word. And that word is focus. The problem with this 2% is this 2% assumes the dumbest idea ever invented by man for building wealth, which is called diversify. Diversify is fine once you're here. It is impossible to build wealth diversifying. You can maintain it. The whole point of diversifying is to not lose money, but you cannot build wealth. Now, it's really simple. Once you get focused, it's really easy. You go, where the deal's going to come from? Think about the last time you bought a car. Now, my wife loves Hondas because they last forever and they're cheap. Okay, she loves Hondas. They're so reliable. Imagine you're going to buy a blue Honda. You go to the dealer, you tell them, this is what I want on it. I want it to be blue. I want this particular make and model. They actually make some pretty cool looking Hondas these days. Okay, now the dealer says, that's great, but I'm not going to have that for 3 weeks. Is that okay? And you say, fine, to wait for my ideal car? Absolutely. 3 weeks is great. Guarantee you, for the next 3 weeks, you will see more blue Hondas than you ever thought could ever be on the road. And the reason is because that's how our brain works. When we get focused, when you get focused on deals, when you get focused on, for example, multifamily, then what's going to happen? All of those deals are just going to come to you. I know. I've watched this over and over and over with hundreds and thousands of clients. So rule number one is we have to focus. Okay. Now, rule number two is no tax. You cannot build wealth and pay tax at the same time. It's not possible. Give you a quick example. Okay. Now, I didn't do these numbers in my head. I ran these on a calculator. If you took $10,000 today, you invested it for 30 years at 10%. That's a really good rate of return. And you paid tax on it at our normal 40% tax rates, you'd have $60,000 after 30 years. But if you'd paid no tax on it, you would have almost $200,000. Not paying tax is the most powerful driver, along with focus, that you could ever have in building wealth. Now, how do you do that? Brad, I know, and Robert have probably talked about the cash flow quadrant, ESB&I. And ESB&I stands for employee, self-employed, big business, or an inside investor. Okay. Now, here's what's fascinating. And by the way, this is true all over the world, not just in the US. An employee that makes a good wage will pay about 40% in tax. If you graduate to being self-employed, you'll probably pay about 60% because you're paying both the employer side and the employee side. As a big business owner, you're down to about 20%. And if you're an inside investor, like you would be if you were, for example, doing your own apartment investing, or you're an insider with somebody else that's a syndicator, you can get to zero. Now you wonder, is that really possible? Well, think about this. President Biden released his tax returns. He pays somewhere between 30 and 40%. Kamala Harris released her tax returns. She pays somewhere around 60%. Why? Because her husband's a self-employed attorney. Donald Trump, love him or hate him, whatever you feel about him, the New York Times got hold of his tax returns, and how much does he pay? 0%. Well, why is that? How can Donald Trump, who made, according to the New York Times, and I think they're probably accurate, I trust their numbers, he made $400 million on The Apprentice. And what did he do? He invested that money as an S in real estate. And what did he get back? A $70 million refund. This is according to the New York Times. Well, is that possible? Absolutely. I know Brad's talked a little bit. And by the way, when you come in March, we're going to get into why Donald Trump can do this and how anybody can do this. Because remember, the great thing about tax law, one of my favorite things about tax law is that the tax law is fair. And it's fair from the standpoint that anybody doing the same thing as anybody else gets exactly the same tax result. So you don't have to be a big inside investor to get the same tax result as Donald Trump, because you can do the same things. You just have to understand, you just have to know the rules. Okay, so what we're going to go through in March is we're going to go through the rules. And on top of that, we're going to do a bonus webinar for the VIPs where we'll spend another hour answering questions, going into details on how to get to zero in tax. So it's very exciting because, again, you want 60,000 or do you want 200,000? Now, there's a third thing that you have to do. The third thing that you must do in order to build wealth is you must have a team. As Robert always says, investing is a team sport. Investing is a team sport. And there are a lot of people you need in a team. Obviously, you need your CPA. You need your attorney. You need your insurance agent. You need your bookkeeper. One of the people that you need, though, is you need a mentor. You need somebody that you can look up to, somebody you can train with. I am extraordinarily fortunate that my mentor is Robert Kiyosaki. He's my personal mentor. We talk on a regular basis. Okay, not everybody gets to do that. Okay, I'm very fortunate. I pretty much lucked into that one, but I'm very happy with it. Well, here's the thing. Guess who's my mentor when it comes to multifamily? It's Brad Sumrock. He's the one that I look to when I'm going, okay, if I need to understand something about multifamily, I'm going to ask Brad. Okay, he's going to be able to show me, engineering background. He can show me why it works the way it does. And so, team is the third thing you need. I will tell you, every time we work with a client, and Brad will tell you, we've reduced a lot of clients' taxes to zero. And the reason we were able to do it is, A, they were focused. Okay, if you're not focused, by the way, you don't get the same tax benefits. Because they were focused, they didn't pay any tax. And on top of that, they built a great team. Now, we can show you how to do that, but you still need to put those three pieces together. And when you do, I'm going to give you one simple example. I promised Brad I would show you just a couple of things here that will reduce your taxes tonight. If you're okay reducing your tax tonight, I want you to type in the Facebook chat, no tax, no tax, no tax. Okay, so here you go. This is one of my favorite favorite things that nobody ever pays attention to because they've got tax advisors who say that's not, it's a red flag. It's aggressive. And this is a home office. This is very simple. You start real estate investing. So you start tonight real estate investing. What you do is you go in and you take one of the rooms in your house and you make it into an office. This is your home office right here. Okay. Now, let me tell you what this does for you. Okay. I've heard people tell me, well, my accountant says, A, it's a red flag. And I will tell you, no, it's not. Okay. Not if you do it right. And B, they'll say, well, it's not that much money. So not only do you get to take a portion of all of your home expenses, including your taxes and interest, which might otherwise be limited. Okay. Not only do you get to do that, but here's what happens. Let's say that you have real estate. Oh, I don't know. Maybe you've got, some buildings out here or something, and you're driving out to that real estate every day. You know that first drive normally is a commute, and that's not deductible. So your car's not deductible. But here's what happens. If you have a home office, and if this is your kitchen over here, okay, here's your kitchen, right? Do you know what your commute is according to the IRS? It's 30 feet. And what that means is your trip there and your trip home, that is not a commute. That is tax deductible. We have found over and over that having a home office will double most people's tax deduction for their car. Will double most people's tax deduction for your car. So if you're taking a tax deduction of $3,000 now, chances are a home office, doesn't always happen, but it's more often than not, will double to $6,000. Okay, well, let's say you're in a 30% tax bracket. Okay, and you just got $3,000 more. That's $900 of tax to put in your pocket. And that's not counting your home office deduction, which probably adds another $300 of tax benefit. Literally today, you make sure you do the home office, which means it has to be completely separate. Okay, it has to be only used for home office. You set that aside. All of a sudden, you're still keeping track of your mileage and everything, but all of a sudden, guess what? You've got an additional $1,200 in your pocket. And I would suggest that maybe you ought to take $100 of that and come to the event in March, and no, I get nothing for that. Okay, Brad gets all the money. Just want to be clear. But I'm good with that because what my mission in life, my why is I am the youngest of 6 children. I don't know if you know this, Brad. I'm the youngest of 6 children. I was always being told what to do. My why in life is independence. It's independence from the government, independence from having to work, independence from anybody telling me what to do. And this is the start to you not having to be told what to do, not be dependent on a job, not be dependent. If you have an IRA, fine, but why would you put money into an IRA on purpose if you know that you could, instead of getting 2%, you could instead get as high as maybe 24%, okay? And I'm not promising anything. I'm just saying I've seen this, okay? And so this is, by the way, 36 years to double your money, and this is 3 years to double your money. So I don't know about you guys, but Brad, I really like the 3 years much better than the 36 years. And what I really love is you do this, not only do you get a higher return, but you pay lower tax.
Tom, can you hear me, Tom?
I can.
Yeah, that's outstanding because yesterday we talked about, I didn't go down the path of 2%, and doubling your money in 36 years, but I talked about how we could basically 2 to 3x our net worth every 5 years. And I showed my own example of in 2002, after 13 years of corporate America and 2 college degrees, an MBA and an engineering degree, my net worth was about $500,000 in 2002, and now it's over $40 million. And I shared that to the whole group, and it's going up exponentially, and it's because I own apartment buildings. And the value of these buildings is going up, and it's still going up, especially even now. And Tom, I know that before you said it was okay, but talk about you investing in one of my deals and why you invested in that deal.
So I like real estate as a place to put my money when I can't put it back into my business. I'm very focused on my business, but I love the tax benefits. Now, I will tell you something. Some people will say, well, you can't get the tax benefits if you're a passive investor. I will tell you, I am a passive investor and I get the tax benefits. It's just a matter of understanding how the tax law actually works. And so I like, you know, when I get into a deal with Brad, it's because, first of all, I've seen what he's done over the years, okay? I mean, Brad's a client of mine, so I see these deals, okay? I know he knows what he's talking about, and I love the tax benefit on top of that. So, you know, I think there's just all sorts of good things to get out of it. Plus, you know, I like hanging out with you and Jen, so.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but I know before you said it was okay that I say good. That. So, and for me, some people were asking which deal. So, you know, it was the Savoy. It was the deal that me and Jen did with our own money. So we can get our $4.2 million depreciation loss to offset our income, and we have a few LPs in that deal. So, Tom, what we're going to do now, so you're going to be, probably you'll be at my March event virtually, right? And not in person, or?
I will be virtual,
Virtual. Yes. And I love how you saved everybody $1,200. So how many people are going to do the home office and save some money? So let me see if you're going to do the home office. Now imagine if you had more time with Tom, and Tom, if you showed him how to save $1,200 now in 5 minutes, I bet you in March you could probably show people how to save $10,000.
More likely than not, yes, Brad.
And especially if they're already doing real estate or if they're business owners, then it becomes easier, right? It becomes easier when you have a business and you're an entrepreneur.
Well, yeah, it's like I showed with the cash flow quadrant. It's much easier to reduce taxes when you're an inside investor than when you're self-employed. Now, I can show you how to reduce your taxes being self-employed too, okay? Because you don't have to be big to get the benefits of the B quadrant. So you can get to 20%. In fact, our first goal with every client is to get them to no more than 20% tax rate in that big business quadrant, even if they're a small business. But it's way easier. I mean, Brad, you know, it's way easier when you become an inside investor. And the only become an inside investor is when you actually get training and put some time into it and get to know the right people, and you know, and you're doing it the right way. That's when you're an inside investor. Retail investing is not for me. I'm not interested in retail investing. I only want wholesale investing or factory direct. Yep.
So Tom, thank you. How many people enjoyed Tom? I know I did, Tom. I loved your whiteboard, by the way, and I've heard you speak so many times, but I picked up some new distinctions from you tonight. And again, repetition is the mother of skill. And Tom, I learned something. I know that you've helped thousands of people tonight during the challenge, and I'm really glad to have you as a featured speaker in March. And so here's what we're going to do, Tom. If you could stay on, I'm going to bring Krista Lee up. She's going to announce a few prizes and some housekeeping, and then we're going to turn off the live stream, and you're going to stay on with our backstage VIPs that are here at this event, and we'll do a few minutes of Q&A. Does that sound okay?
Perfect.
All right, everybody. So Krista Lee, come on back up. Here she is, Krista Lee Thomas.
Hey, Tom. How are you? Good to see you. Thanks, Brad. Wow, give it up for Tom Wilwright. My goodness. I learned so much. And Tom, I have heard from so many people saying, oh, I am so excited that Tom is going to be speaking because I love what he talks about. And I agree. Every time I hear you, I learn something extremely valuable. So thank you for being here. Everybody, let's put it in the chat in Zoom and on Facebook. Like, give it up for Tom. What an awesome evening. So I'm going to announce the prize winners here. We have 5 winners again today. And then Facebook, don't go away because I'm going to join you in the other room for just a quick little extra session here. So our winners for the homework from yesterday, which your homework from yesterday was to give us your net worth target. So Brad shared with you his, and he wanted to hear from you what your net worth target was. All right, so our winners are Rob Daniel, congratulations, Rob, woohoo! And we have Michael O'Reilly, great job. Christopher Thomas Vincent. Yeah. Tasia Castro-Minto. And Tasia Castro-Minto and Elaine Kimura. Yeah. Oh, I see you, Elaine. Congratulations, you guys. Great job. Remember that the homework for tomorrow, and we will give away prizes. And somebody asked me what the prizes were. Monday winners receive Robert Kiyosaki's book. And then the other prizes are Amazon gift cards. So, hey, that's who doesn't use Amazon? My goodness. All right, so remember, your markets to invest. Identify your top markets to invest in. That's your homework for tonight. And why. Yes, thank you. Your top markets to invest and why. And all you beautiful people in Zoom, hang on for some extra juicy tidbits backstage with Tom and Brad. And all you Facebook people, I'm going to run over to the other studio and I'll see you. I have some important things to say. And woohoo! Thanks everybody. Give it up. Yeah! See you tomorrow.
All right, so Crystalie is going to wrap up with everybody on the live stream. And I just want to say again, if we haven't given you enough reason to come in March, I don't know what else to do. Okay, we got Tom's gift.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. We wrapped up day 4. I cannot believe that this is the end of day 4. And you heard Brad talk about bonus days. Saturday is a bonus day, 3 p.m. Eastern, and that is Ask Brad Anything. And then another bonus day, if you can believe it, Monday is Mr. 10X himself, Grant Cardone. Mr. 10X himself, Grant Cardone. So make sure that you stay engaged. I am so excited and I love seeing all of you are playing full out, and that is really what's going to be the tipping point to make a change in your life. So I wanted to reinforce some things with the homework, and that is the markets to invest and why. So I wanted to share with you the markets that we invest in. My husband and I, we're passive investors in 2,300 doors, and we've syndicated 2 deals on our own with our partner Larry Troy, who's also a student in Brad's group. And our markets that we typically invest in passively, we love markets in Texas, outside of Texas as well. So where maybe outside of Texas? We've invested in Arkansas, Colorado, Oklahoma. Let's see, where else outside of Texas have we invested in? Outside of DFW, we've invested in El Paso, Wichita Falls, Texas. So the reasons why we are following Brad's process. He kind of talks about the smile of the United States. So it's like the states that are, here, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, going all the way to Georgia, and then some markets in Florida. And I know that there are some students that have invested in other areas outside of those specific markets that have done very well. So make sure that you complete the homework, your markets to invest, and why you're choosing those markets. Focus helps you so much in this. If you have 3 arrows and 1 target, you will certainly focus. But if you're trying to shoot 3 arrows at 100 targets, it's just, you're not going to be very successful. So stay focused, and also remember, we are extending the offer for those of you who were not able to get your ticket yesterday. There's still time. BradSumrock.com. Go to the 3-day Rat Race to Retirement event tab, and thank you all very much. Let's hear it in the chat. Let me hear you guys. Just loving seeing you all, and have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Bye for now.